Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another marvelous video from our channel. We've something really interesting for all our Hellraiser fans today. If you've been a fan of the Hellraiser series, you must be aware of the puzzle boxes, and the interesting challenges they present in this world. These mysterious boxes, which are also referred to as the Lament Configurations, play a huge role in the Hellraiser universe. The 2022 movie gives us an explicit look into how these work. In today's video, we're going to dive into the lore behind these artifacts, and help you understand everything there is about them. So grab your snacks, sit back, and enjoy as we decode this together. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. How important are the puzzle boxes in the Hellraiser universe? Hellraiser 2022 did something new for Clive Barker's amazing universe. It presented the iconic puzzle box with a new take on all its configurations. What this did was give us more clarity on the mystical ideas that Barker presented in the original film. In his 1987 film, where the box initially came up, when someone solved it, it took down all the barriers between dimensions, and it brought Cenobites from hell. Other works in this universe tell us that these boxes were first created in the 18th century by a Frenchman who was very much into the occult, Philippe Le Marchand. The boxes in the movies are based on Le Marchand's Lament Configuration design. The reboot did one more thing. It introduced 5 new shapes for this puzzle and reimagined the rules that bound the Cenobites to the humans. In the new film, when someone solves this box, they get to have an audience with the god who ruled the labyrinth, Leviathan. When they meet him, they get a chance to ask him for a gift, and they have 6 choices. These are knowledge, love, life, power, sensation, or resurrection. Let us take a look at what it takes to solve this box and have an audience with Leviathan in this film. Hellraiser 2022 – New configurations of the puzzle box. In this film, there's a catch if you want to get to the end. Only someone who's willing to sacrifice 5 humans gets to Leviathan. Now, what do I mean by this? Let me explain. Every time someone manages to solve a configuration, a blade comes out of the box, and it cuts the hand of the person who solved it. What this does is mark the person, and now he will be hunted down by the Cenobites. The only way someone can escape this is if they stab someone else with the puzzle. When a new configuration gets solved, the Cenobites claim a new victim, and the puzzle does not stay the same. It changes its shape by itself, and presents a new challenge to the person solving it. Now, here's the interesting part. Each new shape basically represents a configuration, and each configuration represents a gift that can be granted. Pretty twisted, right? It kind of is like the box is always changing and evolving, drawing you more and more into it. Let us look at all the different shapes of all 6 configurations and see what they represent. Lament. The first stage of the puzzle presents itself in the form of a cube, and it is the Lament configuration. This is the iconic form in which the box presents itself, and it is the one that can be easily recognized. That's because this is the original way in which the box presents itself, and it's often used as its name. When someone chooses this configuration, it means that they get the chance to escape from the Cenobites with no threats to their sanity. This is because it signifies life, and choosing it means you can live freely. However, one might always regret all the other choices one could have made but never did. This is the first step to inviting the Cenobites into your life. When someone solves this step, they open the gate that exists between our realm and hell. In the original movie, people who are addicts and want something more in life are the ones who encounter this box. The box is basically like a drug to anyone who comes across it. In the film, a hedonist millionaire, Roland Voigt, forces Joey Koskuna, a sex worker, to open the box. Joey gets ripped apart in the process, and the box ends up with our protagonist Riley, who discovers it in an abandoned warehouse. She solves the first stage after she gets into a fight with her brother Matt and leaves. But the blade ends up missing her somehow, and Matt is the one who cuts himself on it when he finds her unconscious. The box starts changing shapes after it has taken its sacrifice, and Riley assumes that it caused her brother's disappearance. Riley is the only one who chooses the Lament configuration, even after the Cenobites promise to bring her brother back. She realizes that their gifts would only cause pain. She basically has to live a life of regret now. She could have had anything she wanted, but she chose to be free of them. She now has to live with this choice, and that is why it gets its name. Lore. The second stage of this box is the lore configuration. This one is associated with knowledge. But knowledge of what? Well, we don't know for sure. It's probably about the weird cosmology that refers to the Cenobites' existence. The shape that this configuration takes is that of a diamond. But this is not just some ordinary diamond. It's an 8-sided one that is placed on top of a cube. The shape of this configuration itself is very chaotic and angular, probably suggesting the uncertainty behind picking this. But if you look at it rationally, maybe choosing knowledge is the way to go. You could end up finding out all the details about the Cenobites, maybe even a way to get away from all this. But it seems like all choices have bad consequences, except Lament in this universe. So gaining absolute knowledge could also end up putting you in a state of hopelessness, knowing how much the Cenobites have a hold on things. There's also the idea that too much knowledge could drive a person to insanity. Knowing everything there is seems like a waste. We all love to discover new things. That's what keeps life interesting. What's the point of life after absolute knowledge? It takes life away. You'd always be looking back your entire life if you knew all there was out there. Laudarant. The third shape that the box takes is that of two pyramids that are merging. This signifies the Laudarant configuration. This configuration represents love, a yearning for it. There's not much information available about the etymology of this word. Maybe it has something to do with love, or maybe it's just some random word. If you guys know more, do let us know in the comments. The way these pyramids merge could signify couples in love. This configuration is not really explored much in the film, but I'm really curious about the negative things that can come out of choosing this. I hope we get to know more about it. The creator of this universe, Clive Barker, has given us a good amount of horror erotica. It would be interesting to see this aspect in the Hellraiser universe.
Unlock the next configuration, and then the last.
Liminal. The liminal configuration is the one that comes after knowledge. It is the fourth stage. By this point, 3 sacrifices have already been made to get here. Its shape is like that of a trapezoid, and there are 2 that are crossing. The first person to see this configuration is Roland Voigt because he wants to experience a new sensation, and that's what this stage represents. Void is looking for something that's beyond what we can find on Earth, but he doesn't find what he expects with the Cenobite. There's always a catch with them. He ends up with a contraption that gets embedded in his chest. This is shaped like the box. What it does is twist and contort his nerves all the time. Now, instead of experiencing the pleasure he wanted, it gives him endless pain. In their defense, technically pain is also a sensation. He must have been more careful while making his choice. Imagine having your nerves perpetually being twisted. That is just a life of pain. This contraption only stops when he's close to going numb. It starts back again after. This causes him to slowly go insane. Anyone would with that amount of pain. The Cenobites truly are twisted creatures. They give you what you ask for, but it ends up being agonizing. Lazarus. The next one, the Lazarus configuration, represents resurrection. The name comes from the Bible, after Lazarus, who was raised from the dead. The word comes from a Hebrew name, and it basically means that God has helped. It's shaped like a rectangular prism, and Riley wants to use this to bring her brother back initially. After all, her brother did end up a sacrifice because he came after her. But in the end, she ends up changing her mind and chooses not to use it. This seems like a good decision. We don't know how the Cenobites could twist this whole thing. I'm sure that something horrible would have happened to her brother if he had come back because of this. We don't know what it could do to him. He could be a completely different person. The whole idea of God helping doesn't seem too promising in this universe. Leviathan. The final stage of the puzzle box is the Leviathan configuration. Like we've already been talking about, solving this would get you an audience with him. The shape this configuration takes is that of an 8-sided diamond again, but with sharp points this time. Leviathan, in all the versions before this, is the ruler of Hell, and he's the one who's commanding these Cenobites. This shape represents power, and as always, choosing this also ends in bad ways. After Void gets embedded with the contraption, he's desperate to get free, and he plans to summon Leviathan by holding Cenobites captive. However, there's a flaw in his plan. Once you've picked something, you cannot be freed completely. You can only exchange it for something else. Voight ends up picking power to exchange pleasure with, and is freed from the liminal configuration. However, his freedom doesn't last long. Shortly after he rejoices, Leviathan summons a huge chain that impales him. It slowly starts pulling him into the labyrinth, so he can go through a transformation, probably into a Cenobite. The last we see him, he's begging for his life. That doesn't sound as bad as endless agony, but it's still a very twisted and grim ending for him. Marvelous verdict. Well, with that guys, we've come to the end of yet another fun video. I really enjoyed getting to know all the details about the Lament configuration. Sinister objects are always so fun to explore. I hope you all had fun going through this with me. I'm sure you'll all be reminded of this if you ever see a puzzle box again. Which of the 6 configurations did you find the most interesting? If you got to the end and had an audience with Leviathan, what choice would you make? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. If you enjoyed watching this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.